You know, I feel like we are starting to see things pick up. The hockey world is chugging along, and now we are actually getting greeted with interviews. Guys are going out there making comments and talking about some of the stories that we care about the most. So in this video, what I wanted to do was go out there and just kind of give the tail of the tape here. Because when it comes to Finnish Montreal Canadiens of right now, as well as Finnish Montreal Canadiens legends of the past, today we have ourselves an article that goes over some of the comments linking these two in more ways than one. So without further ado, I'm going to leave a link in the description to yle.fi. This is a Finnish news outlet, and the article is in Finnish, so I had to translate it to English via the Google machine. It's an interview with one Saku Koivu, who knows what kind of pressure cooker will await Patrik Laine. The civilian persona can be separated from the player persona, Koivu says. This article was written, and I assume the questions were asked by Pekka Holopainen, so big shout out over to Pekka. The subheadline reads this, that the Canadiens legend Saku Koivu was very happy to hear the name of Patrik Laine's new team. The last time a Montreal Canadiens player has scored 40 goals in the regular season was in 1993-1994. Now, okay, I mean, 1993, 1994, that's literally 30 years ago. It's been that long since the Montreal Canadiens have had a 30-goal score in the regular season. Is the article implying that Patrik Laine could do that? I don't know. Let's go out there and read. The entire thing starts out by talking about the fact that Laine was acquired by Montreal, etc., etc., and then it goes out there and dives into the Saku Koivu comments. Patrik Laine is not the first really tough player to come to Montreal, and this happens to him, said Koivu, who was allowed to keep his TPS Turku number 11 when he arrived in the French-speaking province of Quebec in 1995. Koivu says that he is very happy that Laine ended up in a club that is particularly meaningful to TPS Turku. There he will have an opportunity to make a brand new start to his motley NHL career. Koivu had no prior information about the player trade. This is what he says about the situation. It results in an advantage and an opportunity for everyone. Laine's world-class shot and scoring ability have not disappeared anywhere. Now we have to find the right level of self-confidence and mental alertness through successes and get the right players alongside as radar pairs. At his best, he is without a doubt an elite goal scorer in the NHL. The history of the Canadiens naturally creates eternal and, considering the player material, even unrealistic expectations in a city where the relative importance of one's own club to the community is the greatest in the hockey world. When an individual's or team's game is not going well, this easily turns into a burden. For example, in terms of media and fan pressure, Columbus was an easy place for Laine compared to Montreal, which was last in the Stanley Cup Finals in the 2021 Corona season. Now, I love the way the article says that. I get it, you know, it's translated from Finnish into English, so maybe the translation is not as eloquent as it is in the Finnish language, but that's a really nice way to put it. Unrealistic expectations in a city where the relative importance of one's own hockey club to the community is the greatest in the hockey world. Montreal is one of the meccas of hockey cities in the world. And Montreal has now gotten themselves an elite goal scorer in Patty Laine. Koivu then goes out there and describes the pressure, and it talks about how it's going to affect Laine here. In pro sports, you just have to deal with the pressure. It's important to be able to separate the civilian persona from the player persona in weaker moments. Montreal is a fantastic city and a sports city that shows immense respect for the players, but also demands respect for itself. The connection between the club, the players, and the city is absolutely unique. Adding to this are the player legends in the past few years, who are a big part of the community and match events, even from beyond the grave. Okay, you didn't have to add that last part in there, but you know what? I'm not going to say that's inaccurate. Koivu says that he is very confident that Montreal will quickly fall in love with Laine and the winger with the city. If Laine can find a center forward with the ability to feed the puck and who has superior timing, and he gets into a goal-scoring mood of his past few years, at least the ability to score is something that Montreal has needed. He is a very special, telling fact from the statistics. And so with all of this in mind, the article then goes out there and talks about the last time the Canadiens had a 40-goal scorer. It's all there in the article if you wanted to read this, but is it not kind of poetic to have Saku Koivu of all people, the cap of decades past, going out there and talking about how this is going to be a great addition for Montreal, how this is going to be a great environment for Patrik Laine? I mean, if you weren't hyped up about the entire acquisition here beforehand, you certainly are going to be now after seeing what Saku Koivu of all people has to say about the trade. Because the article is going into this entire 40-goal scorer conversation, I think that's the big implication that the piece wants us to start thinking about. Because honestly, when it comes to Patty Laine, if he gets a 40-goal year, I would be kind of surprised. Not necessarily because I don't think he's a 40-goal caliber player anymore, but it's just because during his last few seasons in Columbus, he really started to round out the rest of his game. His playmaking was almost a bigger part of his overall offensive package compared to his goal scoring. He hasn't scored 40 goals in a while since his Winnipeg Jets days, and that was like the early Winnipeg Jets days too, before all the crap and the drama happened with Blake Wheeler and all those other guys. So while it has been a while since Laine has been a consistent 30-plus goal guy, he still is good enough to get maybe 20-25 goals in his sleep. I'd say that he just has to push it a little bit more if he wants to attain that 30, 35, even 40-goal mark. And as Koivu says, if there's a center that's going to go out there and feed him the puck, a playmaker who knows what he's doing, then there's a much higher chance of Laine to be able to put the puck in the back of the net as long as his goal-scoring ability rounds itself back out. Now, interestingly enough, it's going to be interesting seeing Laine in a situation where he doesn't need to be one of the top offensive playmakers on the team. He was that the past few years in Columbus when he was getting a point per game, while producing some goals here and there too, but in Montreal, he doesn't need to be a playmaker. He can just let Nick Suzuki and Newhook and Doc and Slavkovsky do all of that. Cole Caulfield is going to be a pure goal scorer with assist-making guys around him. Patrik Laine, probably going to be in a similar spot. If he's playing with Kirby Dach, then I think that's going to be very, very good for Laine's overall development. And, I say development. The guy's like 26, 27 years old, so it's not really like he has any more to do at the NHL level, but just getting back up to speed after coming out of the NHL's Players Assistance Program, after coming back from the injuries. This is kind of what he needs. And heading into 2024, 2025, I'm starting to get really excited here. Everybody is endorsing this trade. All the media, all the fans, all the legends, nobody's going out there and dismissing the talent profile of Patrik Laine. If it gets to the point that he's able to get 40 goals again and become the first Montreal 40-goal scorer in 30 years, then hey, sign me up for that. I'm not going to say I'm going to eat my hat or anything. I don't think it's that unlikely for it to happen, but if Laine gets 40 goals and let's say 70 points, I think everybody in Montreal is laughing to the bank and back. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this Saku Koivu interview talking about Patrik Laine and his acquisition in Montreal. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.